FRIZION, or frozen vision, is an art form that celebrates the color of ice newly emergent from freezing water. The story begins in a place where 90% of the world's ice and 70% of the world's fresh water is stored. This is a place which is at once the coldest, the windiest, and the driest continent. Antarctica, where meteorites are found on the pale blue ice near the mountains that transect the continent. The strong and persistent katabatic winds sculpt the ice into abstract forms, defying the vision to be called ice. But why is the ice blue? Simply because the dense glacial ice allows the blue part of the white light spectrum to penetrate more deeply than the other parts of the spectrum. Let's go beyond the vision of the bluish Antarctic ice, seen by the cold face. The connection is the mask. The black background is water. All the color and form is ice, emergent from this water. But where does the color come from? A polarizer, similar to the lens in your sunglasses, would make light, which vibrates in all directions, suddenly vibrate in one direction. The polarized light would then enter the ice. In the ice, the light is doubly refracted, and when emergent from this ice and pass through a second polarizer, the other lens from your sunglasses, it's combined to produce light with a phase difference which translates into colors. The color chart has a vertical axis labeled with millimeters. 25.5 of these millimeters is equal to 1 inch, and a horizontal axis that is labeled with numbers corresponding to the phase difference, which depends on the thickness of the ice. The thick red line is the ice line. Near the origin, where the red line starts, indicating that the ice is very thin, only white, the varying hues of gray, are possible. Moving up the line as the ice gets thicker, the colors pass through intense hues and finally into faint pastel shades. And when ice approaches the thickness of an ice cube, only clear and white colors are seen. Cold water is my canvas. Delicate ice forms are my composition pieces. And ice thickness and the orientation of the polarized light is my color palette. Delicate and thin filaments of ice first emerge from the water. These filaments seem to be searching for form. The water can appear light gray to black, depending on how I choose to orient the polarized light. With continued growth, the filamentary forms thicken and form flow patterns which almost cover the water. The entire scene remains too thin for color to emerge. The structure of the surface indicates that the ice remains undecided about what it should do next. Changing the rate at which the water cools and introducing temperature gradients in the water is responsible for dictating how the ice will nucleate and grow. So we let this organic process proceed, and a colorful array of dancing forms emerge from the gray water. FRIZIONs appear as surreal organic growths on the water canvas, and like snowflakes, no two are alike. Plumage appears independent of a body. The red and blue colors represent the thickest part of feathered forms, but dendritic extensions suggest they would like to grow some more. Gablacity appears. The name comes from its resemblance to a turkey. In this image, all that is possible with color in ice can be seen. The concentric color bands in the head indicate a thickness gradient. The deep hues and pastel hues in the feathers indicate thickness and orientation features. All of this is set in gray water background. Looking into the freezing water, the intricate morning dragon emerges. Soon after, we have the quest of the apoidea. Oh, by the way, apoidea refers to stinging insects. The imagery seems to provide the names. I wait for the forms to tell me who they are. Moray comes home. The thick, bubbly, rope-like ice appears white, too thick for color. However, Moray finds its way to the colored curtain of ice crystals. Depth of field can be troublesome at times, but in subluster, one is left to wonder what resides in the chasm. So we let the ice grow for a short time, and we modify the way in which the ice is allowed to grow. We can expect incredible variety. The artist can choose form and color. If ice were allowed to fully crystallize, none of what you have seen would be possible. Even the air bubbles are important to the composition. Lauren Isley wrote, "If there is magic on this planet, it is contained in water. What you have just seen in the FRIZIONs is some of this magic. I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation."